Blood. 10 pints of life force, coursing through thousands of miles of arteries, veins, and capillaries. Those blood vessels carry blood to every other organ, keeping them functioning and thriving. Our red blood cells carry oxygen and nutrients. Our platelets stop bleeding and help to heal our wounds. Our white cells protect us against infection. And the yellow liquid plasma in which they are suspended carries an array of proteins that regulate bleeding and clotting. Red blood cells make up 40% of our blood's volume. They're made continuously in the bone marrow, looking like flattened donuts without the holes. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, a bright red protein which gives blood its color. When we breathe, as our blood passes through our lungs, oxygen molecules attach to the hemoglobin. Then, the red blood cells and hemoglobin transport the oxygen throughout the body and release it to all our cells and tissues. When the hemoglobin molecules are emptied, they attract carbon dioxide and other waste gases, which they take back to the lungs to be exhaled. Anemia occurs when there are too few red blood cells or not enough hemoglobin. Exhaustion is the common sign of anemia.
In a first step towards clot formation, platelets are recruited to the site of vessel injury by now exposed molecules of the vessel wall, such as collagen and von Willebrand factor. This factor mediates the linking of platelets to collagen via a specific receptor in the platelet membrane. The resulting change of shape of the platelet from its resting state into the dendritic form indicates activation. The activated platelet in turn releases prothrombotic molecules such as adenosine diphosphate, ADP. By binding to its receptors, ADP induces aggregation. And recruits further platelets to the site. Thromboxane is another important mediator of platelet activation and aggregation. Under its influence, the platelets cross-link with each other. These interlocking mechanisms cause platelet activation to snowball. The clot grows rapidly. Activated platelets also trigger the coagulation cascade and thus the formation of thrombin. Thrombin, in turn, stimulates platelet activation even further, a continuous feedback loop. Additionally, thrombin induces the formation of fibrin for the mesh stabilizing the clot. The self-reinforcing process of platelet activation, crucial in the formation of blood clots, is an obvious therapeutic target in conditions caused by inappropriately triggered blood coagulation.
Immunization is the process of becoming immune to or protected against a disease, usually by receiving a vaccine. Vaccines stimulate your immune system to protect you from certain diseases so you won't get sick or get an infection. Normally, the organs and cells of your immune system defend your body from harmful germs, such as bacteria and viruses. Immune cells are constantly circulating through your body. They monitor certain substances on the surfaces of cells called antigens. Healthy cells have different antigens than diseased body cells or foreign invaders in the body. Immune cells usually ignore the antigens on healthy cells. But when immune cells come across antigens on germs, they destroy the germ. Afterward, the immune cell displays the germ's antigen on its surface. This activates other types of immune cells to help get rid of the infection. For example, some activated immune cells recognize the antigen on infected body cells and then destroy them. Other activated immune cells, called plasma cells, make molecules called antibodies. These antibodies travel through your body and lock on only to germs that have its specific antigen. This marks the germ for destruction. Then, other immune cells attack the germs that have these antibodies. Once the infection is gone, some of the immune cells that were exposed to the antigen become memory immune cells. In the future, if the same type of germ infects your body again, the memory immune cells will be ready to destroy it so you don't get sick. This is called natural immunity. In many cases, it will last your whole lifetime. The problem with getting natural immunity from having the disease itself is that some naturally acquired infections can cause serious complications, or may even be deadly. For example, polio can result in permanent paralysis or death. Measles can cause swelling of the brain, resulting in permanent brain damage or death, especially in children under age 5. And whooping cough, also known as pertussis, can cause complications such as pneumonia, slowed or stopped breathing, and death, especially in babies under 1 year of age. While symptoms may not be severe in all people, it's not possible to know who will be affected enough to become very ill or even die. Vaccines can protect you from getting these diseases and their harmful symptoms. Vaccines often contain a small amount of weakened or killed germs, but some contain genetic material, such as RNA or DNA, that provide instructions for your body's own cells to make the germ's antigen. Usually, you receive a vaccine as a shot. Inside your body, the germ particles in the vaccine teach your immune cells to attack these germs. This process doesn't make you sick, but it does cause your body to make memory cells and antibodies for those germs. As a result, if that germ infects your body later in life, sickle cell anemia is an inherited blood disease that affects your red blood cells. It's one of the most common and usually most severe forms of a group of red blood cell disorders, called sickle cell disease. In order to survive, your body needs red blood cells to supply oxygen to its tissues. Red blood cells are made inside the center of your bones, called bone marrow. There, immature cells, called blood stem cells, can divide to make all types of blood cells, including red blood cells. Normal red blood cells are disc-shaped. Each of them contains protein molecules called hemoglobin that carry oxygen. Round, flexible red blood cells flow easily through your bloodstream and pick up oxygen in your lungs. In tiny air sacs in the lungs, called alveoli, oxygen moves into the blood and attaches to the hemoglobin in red blood cells. Then, the red blood cells deliver oxygen to cells throughout the body. In sickle cell anemia, there is a problem with your hemoglobin that makes your red blood cells sickle-shaped instead of round. This is caused by a defective gene that is passed from both parents to children through genetic material in your cells called DNA. DNA is made up of sections called genes. Two of the genes, called alpha-globin and beta-globin, contain the blueprints for making the hemoglobin proteins. In sickle cell anemia, the beta-globin gene has changed or mutated. This mutation leads to the formation of an abnormal hemoglobin protein called hemoglobin S. Hemoglobin S forms into rigid strands inside your red blood cells, which causes the red blood cell to be sickle-shaped. Sickle cells can block blood flow and can cause pain and tissue damage. And while normal red blood cells last 90 to 120 days, sickle cells only last 10 to 20 days. Your body may not be able to keep up with how fast the cells are destroyed. As a result, your blood has less red blood cells than normal. This condition is called anemia. The symptoms of sickle cell anemia vary from person to person, but may include episodes of pain in your body parts, such as your hands and feet, lower back, chest, and abdomen, a yellow tint in the whites of the eyes and skin called jaundice, and feeling tired due to anemia. Over time, sickle cell anemia can lead to complications such as severe pain and damage to your eyes, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and joints. Damage to your spleen, an organ that makes immune cells, can increase your risk of infections. The risk for sickle cell anemia is highest among people with ancestors from sub-Saharan Africa, Hispanic areas of South America, the Caribbean and Central America, Saudi Arabia, India, and Mediterranean countries. To find out more about sickle cell anemia, talk to your